Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. In today's video I'm gonna review 3 coins, Aave, Cardano and BNB coin. The 3 of them are at a very critical level. Aave is almost ready to confirm a breakout on the weekly, and that could bring a pretty decent upside if playing out. Cardano is about to confirm reclaiming support. Again, another bullish potential setup that I wanna discuss with you. And BNB at the moment is undoing almost all the losses since the previous high. We're gonna discuss whether this is a fake move, can we trust it, where is resistance, and all of that. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. And of course, I'm still chasing for those 1,000 likes in a single video. Only with your help I can get there. I really appreciate if you can leave a like now and a comment down below. It always helps the channel. Alright, let's get started with Aave. What we are seeing in here is that by the end of January, on the RSI weekly, we lost the support. At that point, I left this line in here to remind me as soon as we are getting back into resistance. The resistance is more or less at 55, and at the moment we are at 54. So we're just 1 point away to be in the breakout area. If we set the reverse RSI to 55, we can see where is that resistance, and it's more or less located around the highs of this week at $260. There is this order block in 2022 which is serving me at the moment as a level of support. You can tell there that we've been interacting with it, although it hasn't been by the dollar, but we were very close at $241. The level is 242, so just $1 difference to hold that support. And at the moment the price is in a green candle trap between the support at 242, which we have to defend, and the 260, which confirms the breakout. Now this setup is very unique and I love it. You know guys how many times I talk about it. It consists in being in a channel to the downside, having a breakout, the breakout didn't hold the support, and you come one level down. I love that setup because I've noticed in the past year how many times after calling for this particular breakdown I saw a rally, and that rally was a rally into resistance. It's like you come to the scene of the crime and you give it typically a kiss goodbye and then you continue down. It doesn't always play by the book, okay? So it's not always getting in here. Sometimes it rallies longer and it goes way higher. Sometimes it doesn't manage to touch it and then still struggles and comes back down. Sometimes it touches it intra-candle, but at the candle close it gets rejected, it closes below and then it dumps. So there is a bunch of multiple edge cases if you want to be aware, but the point is once we get the breakout in here, let's say the candle close at 56, then you got my attention. At that point I'm interested into holding on and seeing how high we can get in there. If there is weakness or I have achieved the profits I wanted to take, I just close my position. And most importantly, we need to make an assessment here at which point could this get in touch with resistance if it gets there. And I'm gonna just assume by the shape of this that it could be as aggressive. So possibly we could encounter that resistance at 65. So I place that resistance now at 65. I keep in mind that we need to go beyond 54, 55, ideally 56 to get that breakout fully confirmed, pinching the white line. And that target for Aave is $356. So that from where we are is around a 40% swing to the upside. Now that doesn't necessarily end there, because as you can see, the larger picture is that we are in a bull flag in here, and part of that making it bullish is reclaiming this strong area of support, which so far we are doing. So we are inside the pattern, putting this green candle on support, and if we can hold that 240 and not continue putting lows in here, it's a great potential setup for completing the full flag. So that level of 355 is less than my full target of the flag, because that is just a rally into resistance. At that point, if you see weakness, you just drop the deal and run to the fields and ignore the hopium of the rest of the flag. If the flag, you see that you're having a strong rally in here and there is no retracement on that rally, which we could cover in future videos if this plays out, let me know in the comments. And remind remind me if you want me to cover that once it happens. For example, if we take the highs of 398 around $400, then we get a great setup that we can continue rallying to the 1618. My take on this is that we are going to need to see in general the altcoins doing better for this coin to reach those highs. At the moment, the market is having some struggle, and I don't see Aave reaching those levels, doing a heroic effort by itself while the rest of the market is actually bleeding out. And that's why I made you first aware of a rally into resistance, getting to that level of $355, as opposed to just giving you the full hopium of the $700 and beyond. Let's look at other things that could make this setup really a sweet one. And hit the like if you're liking the content. And this is the point. Longs versus shorts are very close to the bottom of the range. That means that too many shorts have entered, and we might be able to get away with a pretty intense move to the area of the $350 if we manage to hit that liquidity. Let's go with Cardano. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we could be potentially reclaiming support weekly after having a huge impulsive move here on Cardano. We made it to 85. I don't think that this time RSI is gonna put a new high, but I think price definitely can. We had a very fractional small breakdown in here when we lost this support from supposedly 48 reaching 47. So it really depends how you place the line. Like, I could make it look like we never lost support if I place it like that, if you allow me to do that, in which case we can argue that this is even more bullish. We can also say that since this is a higher high in RSI, that we can place a line like this and look for a new breakout. So we are similarly to with Aave, we have touched 3 times this, and this is the 3rd time, but with the caveat that with Aave we lost the support first. ADA has been stronger than Aave, and it has managed to hold that support. So in that sense, ADA is better positioned. It's got a double argument to say that if we break from here, we could be seeing a very strong next leg up. From the point of view of the price, Cardano needs to get done with the next task at hand. And if you look on the left hand side, the highs of March were roughly 78 cents with a maximum of around 80 cents. Around that area is where we are trying now to reclaim that support. It is definitely very important, and in that sense Aave is doing better. You can see the highs of March are around 150. We are just reclaiming the 242 and now challenging the next levels. Whereas on ADA we are at lower prices, but the momentum has been a lot healthier. Not very extreme moves up, but price has been able to defend and sold less intensely. So ADA, what it needs to do is basically break above 78 cents, reclaim that. At that point, I suspect that we will get the confirmation as well on the weekly basis of the breakout of the RSI. In this case, we don't have a specific resistance on the RSI to rally to. In Aave, we know that we have lost that level, so that becomes resistance. On ADA, once we break out and once we put a pivot, hopefully a higher low, let's say RSI does this and then comes back down and then comes back up, at that point we can use a new line that we need to defend to continue the rally to the upside, or we can continue using the yellow line if the RSI comes back for a retest there and then later on around there. That is kind of the way I monitor the healthiness of a breakout. I am going to give you the targets of ADA, Cardano based on Fibonacci levels, and we do need to do some work in here. From the lows of September 2023, we had the Fibonacci extension. We were assuming that 76, 78 was going to hold, but it didn't. So we need to update the Fibonacci extension to the new low at 51, and that is giving us now a reduced target of 2.277. We get one target that we can take directly from the flag and placing it here, which is 1.64. For that, we need to exit from the top of the bull flag and close a weekly candle there The 1618 is a target that we could envision once we get an actual altcoin season. And if we get one, what I will do is, if we see the breakout, I will continue to monitor the psychological level of $1 followed by the 1.21. The 121 is the order block that sold from here. The current one that we are having resistance was resistance in March, and it was support in March 2022. So it is important that we reclaim that. Longs versus shorts are in the middle of the range, so at least I'm not calling for a long when we are at the top of the range. When too many longs are there, you need to skip that opportunity most of the time. That is the best call, and look for something that is not so crowded already. Okay, and let's go with the guy that is making the news, which is BNB. And unfortunately, when I started recording the video, BNB was at an RSI of 61. It was hitting the resistance at 729. By the time I'm recording what I wanted to say, the price is already doing what I wanted to say, which is pretty annoying. But yes, basically we have on the weekly this white resistance. The most recent news were that I was explaining that BNB is inside a squeeze. Let's correct this to make it fully perfect. You got the squeeze from the top, from the bottom, and we lost support with the recent sell-off of Ethereum. BNB followed through. It put a low at 48. It couldn't manage really to take these lows of RSI. That was positive. And now that CC is talking about meme coins on BNB and having his own dog on a meme coin, people are going crazy, and that is helping BNB to reclaim the previous range and go back inside the squeeze. If on the weekly we close like this, that means that the move down was a fake out. But what I'm worried at the moment is with the risk of this move. What could happen, and this is just up, it could potentially happen, and that's why I prefer to wait for candle closes and not to chase this intra-candle move. Basically, by Sunday, this could close there at $55. Sorry, $55, 55 RSI. And if we do that, we're still below resistance. Second, this could rally into the next resistance in here, which is 62. So we got 55 and 62, and we are still below resistance. And that means in my head, this is telling me if I close here, I can get rejected like this. If I close in front of this resistance, I can get rejected like that. And that makes it a setup with elevated risk, particularly if you're not aware of that. So let me place in the price 55 and 62, and let's do the analysis directly in the price. So I'm gonna put, all right, so if the price of BNB closes below 673 by Sunday, that means that we are below the yellow line and we did exit from the squeeze, and we are against that resistance, calling for a rejection and continuation to the downside. Okay, and if we close very close to 745, which is the higher resistance, which coincides as well with 742, the highest close on a weekly candle. So neither of them, I want to be in a position where we end the week right below that resistance, confirming a rejection. Of course, if we come back down from 671 and we put a close below 613, then it's horrible. Luckily, we have this candle in there, which I think is bullish. I would prefer that we close, of course, above the white line, so above 742, creating a global breakout that follow a previous fake out to the downside that is sweet setup, or at the worst case inside the symmetrical triangle. Below the symmetrical triangle, as I say, is a disaster. And why is a disaster? Because again, the longs are going crazy, going into the top of the band very fast. I don't know if these guys are retail, small wallets, or any of that, but I can tell that there are too many. And when you get into those bands, you don't know at what point, but eventually you see a rejection and a flip completely to the other side. Let's look at liquidation levels of BNB and ADA. Unfortunately, we don't have Aave on Trading Different. On Cardano, there is a great setup, by the way. You get that 82 cents full of liquidity. This is a great setup to hit the shorts in there. Those shorts have been adding to their positions since the times we went to 82. Very few got lucky to enter in here, but they were joined by a new wave of shorts at this move, and then a new wave of shorts at this move, and they continue to push the price lower. But the more liquidity they accumulate at 82, the more likely that you continue squeezing into this area. Now, you need to watch out for the liquidity on the lower end. Having a lot at the top doesn't mean that you won't touch the one at the bottom, because there can be bearish news, there can be a shake off, a pullback in the market, and in that case it is very easy to go ahead and take that. Actually very close to the price. We are at 77 and we can go to 74 and we already take a big chunk of liquidity there. Going lower, I cannot find that much. So Cardano, from the point of view of liquidation pools, is in a great position to hit the highs. BNB is in a similar situation. There's been loads of shorts that have been around for quite a long time. Let me go to the 1 hour time frame and let's see where they really started accumulating on that short. So around early January, price hit liquidations at 739, and if we exclude that from the chart now, you can see that the largest accumulations of liquidity span up until $750. And at the moment, it seems that all this move up that we are seeing seems to be targeting that level. The question is, what is BNB going to do after it hits 750 in these conditions of the market? And that's a very fair question, because if you look at my targets of the RSI, that is at $746. That is a rally into that global resistance. So do you think that BNB is gonna get with that liquidity and then break the global resistance and continue a rally to the upside, or is it just chasing that liquidity, which once it takes it, is just gonna see a rejection with new lows? As a swing trader, I would rather, if I was already in a position, target that liquidity and that's it for me to reduce my risk. After all, that's why I use the liquidity pools to identify not just areas for entries but also for exits. I know that many of you are interested in longer term, not necessarily just on swing trades, so let me see how this is looking in terms of longer term targets. So if we take 2019 bear market to the top of 2021 and then the 2023 bottom, we get an extension that goes to 1314. That is quite a high target, which I'm gonna track for future reference. And if we use instead this most recent rally to 724 and we go to this bottom, is giving us a target of 1234. This is all thanks to this move having been extremely bullish. That's why we are getting these extensions so bullish. But in order to be able to talk about any of these extensions, we do need an actual breakout post RSI 61. That means post the 750 liquidation, when BNB needs to prove that it's going there not just to grab that liquidity and then get rejected, but actually to hold it and go for higher targets. Guys, if you want to trade any of these coins, or actually any altcoin, my preferred choice of exchange is the combination of having an account on Bybit and one in OKX. If you use the links in the description to open a new account on those, you can claim 30,000 in rewards from Bybit and 60,000 from OKX. Those links as well can help you reduce the trading fees to the minimum, which is also great. If you want to stay away from KYC, I've got two options, Tubi and Bluffin. On Bluffin, you can get 100k in rewards, and on Tubi 30,000 in bonuses. All of these bonuses are subject to trading volume and deposit size. Guys, thanks so much for watching the video. I'll see you on the next one. Hit the like and write a comment. Bye bye.